that was drafted by the Patriots last year in the first round. His agent has contacted the Patriots and told them that his client would like to be traded. What does that tell you? Well, I've talked to Reggie Wayne. I've talked to Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco. I've talked to numerous players that have gone up to New England, Randy Moss, and I've talked to these guys and asked them what it's like to work inside that building as a player. And to each man, they say this: hey, it's not like any other place you've ever been. It's different. And I go, what's so different? Because one day they'll ask you to do this. Next day they won't ask you to do anything. Next day you'll be practicing all day long. The day after, you won't practice. You never know where you really stand when it comes to the pecking order in that organization, because that's how they prepare each and every single week. It's about group settings. They start to look at the first 4 games of the year. And what they do is they look at personnel settings. Hey, how does this guy line up against the Jets? How do you think he's going to line up against the Buccaneers? You think he's going to be someone that we could use in this group setting here? Let's practice this. So that's how they practice. And it's frustrating for a player because when you show up to the facility, you really don't know what's being asked of you as a player. See, one of the greatest things I ever heard was from a baseball friend of mine named Gary Templeton. Gary Templeton played the beginning of his career with the St. Louis Cardinals. Then he would go on to an all-star career with the San Diego Padres. And I asked him, I go, why are the Cardinals always so great in baseball? And he says this. Let me tell you what they do. A-ball, double-A, triple-A, and all the way till you get up to the big team in St. Louis, they have a manual. And every single guy that's in that Cardinal organization knows what's expected of him in A-ball, double-A, triple-A. So when he gets to the big club, it's seamless. They don't have 50 different styles of how they win ball games in their minor league system. The things they do in St. Louis are the things they do in Florida. Things they do at every single one of their minor league teams. And I asked him what the advantage was of that. And Gary Templeton told me, he's like, because when you show up to the ballpark, you know what's being asked of you. You didn't have to worry about, hey, do I do this? Do I do that? You knew what was expected. There's a comfort in that as a player when you show up. When you show up in New England, that comfort is not given to you. And so they always keep their players on their toes. That's why when you hear a guy like Gronkowski saying it's really not fun to play in New England, because each and every single week is a different tempo when it comes to dealing with certain groupings and personnel settings. It's different than every other place, okay? Which means that roster is more versatile. That's why you don't see gigantic names on those rosters when Brady was up there in New England. You're like this, Troy Brown? Chris Hogan? Who are these guys? Julian Edelman? A guy in Wes Welker who was in San Diego with the Chargers at one time, then went to the Dolphins. That Wes Welker was a special teams guy? They find these innocuous dudes all over the league. And there was a time, and I say this to everyone, there was a time in the New England Patriots dynasty when there wasn't one first-round draft choice in the offensive attack when it came to being in the huddle. Think about that for a minute. Gronk was a 2. Brady was a 6. Welker and Edelman were not first-round draft choices. Hell, even Aaron Hernandez was like a 4th-round draft choice. They never had big-time guys that were drafted in that offensive setting. You were like this. There's no first-rounders in here. How incredible is that? When you look around the league and you see first-rounders littered everywhere. Gronk was a 2 and always hurt at Arizona. So my point is that N'Keal Harry and his agent didn't like the fact that they saw his name on the 3rd team. Well, that means to me that he's not very coachable. He is a guy who doesn't want to work hard, because if you're in New England, You get rewarded because of effort that you give in practice. That's a Belichick staple. That's why Brady's the way he is. Brady has been conditioned by Belichick to practice his ass off. Repetition, repetition. Why do you think you run over the same plays over and over and over and over and over and over again? Because you know why? Belichick is trying to get those plays to be just natural. And the more repetition that you get at those plays, the more it does become natural. That's why he doesn't like turnover in his offense. When you don't have turnover, it's seamless. You know what's expected of you. This kid still doesn't know what's expected of him after 2 years. That's a kid thing. That's a you thing, man. Now, could he go somewhere else where it's a little bit more lax and, they don't have the expectations? And there's places all over the league like that. Man, it'd be great to go to the Jets. He'd be a perfect Jet, okay? First-round draft choice, it'd be only in name alone because I never thought he was that much when he came out of Arizona State. Have you seen him try to get separation after football? He's terrible. And the Patriots have him at third team. Watch this. That's a bust. When you're a first-round draft choice going into your second year and you're on the third team, they don't think much of you, son. They don't think much of your work ethic, son. They don't think much of your ability to be able to work hard. And get this. This was all determined in shorts. Think of that for a minute. So if you're another personnel guy, and N'Keal Harry, who was a first-round pick a year ago, and his agent are now demanding to be traded, the Patriots made their decision off of a horrible rookie year, and you were running around in T-shirts and shorts and a helmet. I don't know. Do you want that on your team? Not me. I'd rather take a kid like an Edelman or an Amendola or someone like that who wants to be here, who wants to give me effort, who wants to burn the midnight oil, as they say, who wants to work with the quarterback or quarterbacks to try to get his skill set better. I mean, the reflection that he gives by saying, I want out, I don't like the – bro, that's a you thing. They gave you every opportunity. They gave you millions of dollars. You had a seat in New England. They were counting on you to be part of the new transition, okay? Part of you in the new transition. And you know what you do? You turn around and you do this. I want out. Okay, fine. Patriots are never going to get market value, so you know what I would do? I'd keep the guy on my ball team just to piss his ass off more because you're never going to go out there. You know what you would get for N'Keal Harry right now? You'd be lucky to get a fifth-round draft choice for the guy. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think that dude was the last player taken in last year's NFL draft. Man, what a colossal bust. And what a bust as a human. See, this is one thing here, and I say human. I don't know him from a can of paint, so I'll take that back. As a ball player. Okay? So, yeah, as a human, I'll take that back. But it tells me a lot about his human nature that he doesn't want to work hard. You know, and showing up and doing the things, watch this. Showing up and going to training camp and doing the things that's, that's expected of you. It's not enough in that league. You got to go over and above. Greatness is not just showing up. Greatness is putting in the work. You got to grind to shine, man. You got to grind to shine. Look at Brady grinding still. 22 years in. That dude is still grinding. That's what makes him who he is. And this is what makes N'Keal Harry who he is.